Oh, hey, everybody. I was going to roll an intro, but I was like, let's go.
Right now. At least I wasn't eating food this time, so that was
Oops. The cat was trying to climb on my keyboard, and I was like, well, let's start. And I'm like trying to fight him off. And never mind. Anyway, welcome to a Monday Night Astrology, everybody. I guess we can just keep talking. Just kidding. People will get here. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Megan, and we have your teachers Julie and Elle with us, and we're so excited to have you here. Cat, he's gonna push my whole laptop off my lap. Anyway, so we are here. We're going to be talking about astrology. It's the house rulers. So we're going to be talking about the 11th house ruler, right? Yay! I'm super excited, and it's going to be a blasty blast. If you go to astro.com and you go to their like horoscope section, you put in your birth information, you can find the charts that will be the same as the ones that Julie pulls up, so she can like walk you through how to check them out. And yeah, this is Saren. He needs loves apparently. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Academy of Logic and Light, though. So we are a community education platform that provides a safe space for people to practice their spirituality without indoctrination. And we have monthly meetups, both in person and online. We just had a full moon meetup that Julie led yesterday, and it was so wonderful. And the full moon is today. So anyway, look up some fun stuff. It's also, it's also eclipse season, so that's always very chaotic energy for me, but I'm super excited.
Everybody meditate, breathe, do your breath in the morning. So just breathe and take deep breaths. It's gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then we are on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and we have a group all under the name Academy of Logic and Light. We're also on Patreon, so if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, you can jump over there. And if you're interested in teaching with us, you can reach out. There's links down below. If you go to our link tree, it's got a whole section to sign up as a teacher. So hopefully we'll see you guys at a class or a meetup or here in astrology class again later. Anyway, I'm going to roll a quick intro, turn it over to the ladies. It was so great chatting with everybody. Happy astrology night. Happy full moon. All right. Okay, bye.
She's so cute. I just love her. Love her.
I forgot what I left. I was, oh man, it was like the bitey bite or something.
Oh yeah, I don't know what it was, but I know. Yeah, I caught onto that. She's like, adorable. We love Megan. She's amazing.
We love Megan. All right, we're at the 11th house. We're almost done with this series, which is crazy.
It is crazy. Fun time. So, the 11th house. Before we go into where to find all the things and point it out on the maps, just to kind of recap, the 11th house is friendships, organizations, and a lot of humanitarian energy. So a lot of doing things for the community, wanting more for your community, wanting to have a purpose that's louder than just yourself. It's wanting to do for others. It's all of that energy with a huge emphasis of friendship. So we're going to talk about each house ruler and how it affects the 11th house and maybe some planets that are in there, and then chase some planets that are the rulers of the sign that's over that. So same thing we've been doing for the last 10 houses. I just wanted to recap on the 11th house and what kind of energy it possesses. So
perfect. I think this is a good timing. We're always really like timing appropriate with our projects, even though we don't plan it.
We don't, but here we are.
Humanitarian is like a good one for right now.
Yes.
These are-
So this one is my chart. So if you look at my 11th house ruler, it is Scorpio. Barely. Again, mine is that weird one that has like two signs that rule two houses. So Scorpio rules my 11th house and Scorpio rules my 12th house. So fun fact, you can see how wide my Scorpio goes in my chart. So
What a wide Scorpio you have.
I mean, it's my second most dominant planet in my chart, sign in my chart. So Pluto, I'm a Pluto strong chart for sure. It's a good one.
Okay.
It's a good one to have sometimes. Sometimes it's not. And then Julie, so if you go to hers, because ours are just tilted a little different, you can see hers is Gemini. It's up a little bit higher than mine is. So that line where the 11th house starts, that's what sign you're going to look at. For mine, I said Pluto because Pluto rules Scorpio or Mars if you're traditional. And then for Julie, since hers is Gemini, you will chase her Mercury because Mercury rules Gemini. So we'll kind of talk about that. We're going to go through all that. I'm just kind of showing you like, oh, Mercury rules Gemini and her Mercury doesn't have to be in that house. It can be completely somewhere else on the chart, but it's somewhere. So everybody has a Mercury. So you just kind of chase where that's at, and that's how we connect the two and kind of figure out the keys to how you are in an organization or how you are with your friends or how you create things. It's also very eccentric, very different energy. It's not the norm, the day-to-day 9 to 5. It's chaotic and crazy and inconsistent, but in an eccentric kind of way, but it's also kind of grounded because it has that fixed energy. It's ruled by Aquarius, and Aquarius is a fixed sign. Even though they're air signs and they're a little flighty, they're most consistent of the air signs. The Gemini and Libras are not fixed.
Here's your little cheat sheet if you guys want to screenshot this. House rulers.
All right, so just like we've been doing, if you've been watching for the last 10 houses, you know the drill. We're going to pretend that Aries rules the 11th house. So when you take Aries, this cardinal fire, fun, very get shit done energy, and you put it in the 11th house of organizations and humanitarian work. This is someone that is really good at taking care and taking leadership and the role of making sure everything gets done, making sure that it's done effectively. They might have a little bit of an aggressive nature to them if they have a lot of planets in here. Let's say they're a lot of their inner planets are here. Maybe their sun, maybe their Mars is in here. If you have Mars and Aries in the 11th house, you might be a very aggressive organizer, friend. I mean, it can really relate to two of those things heavily. So it can just be really strong, dominant energy if you have a lot of your inner planets in this house. So let's pretend that your Mars isn't here, though. Let's say because Aries is ruled by Mars, so then you would go into your chart and find where Mars is, and you can, let's just say Mars is in your first house. So you're probably looking at somebody with a Mars in either Gemini, possibly Taurus, most likely Gemini. Let's pretend that it's Gemini. So let's pretend that Aries is your 11th house ruler and your Mars is in Gemini in the first house. So when you put that all together, the 11th house is, organizations, humanitarian work, friendships. Aries is very bold and very direct and they get things done. And then you follow your Mars, which is the planet of passion, the planet of fire, getting things done in the first house, right? Which again is a very strong get shit done house. And then you have it in a sign like Gemini, pretending that your Mars is in Gemini. And hopefully that makes sense. Julie, does that easy to follow, or am I saying it, making it complicated?
No, I mean, it is complicated, but you got this.
But does that make sense to you? Like why I would assume that the Mars in the first house would be Gemini if Aries is ruling the 11th house, most likely Taurus is going to be ruling the 12th house. And then Gemini would be ruling the first house if you were just following the signs throughout the wheel. Now, again, they can go over a couple of houses where you saw mine. The Scorpio went over 2 houses or less. It kind of depends. But we're just saying a generalization. It's most likely going to be a Gemini Mars if it's in the first house. And so when you take all of those factors, and Gemini being the thinker and this amazing communicator, you take all those energies. This is probably one of the strongest, most intellectual leaders who gets in front and speaks in front of people and shares their passions. Like, I can't really think like a pastor almost of an organization. This is like that kind of energy, because not only are they the leader and they're in charge of everything, but they're also very good at conveying a message and communicating. So hopefully that kind of just helps tie that in and makes sense because of the communication of Gemini, the first house, if Aries was the 11th house ruler. So I'm not going to go into this much detail into all of these. I was just trying to put it into perspective with the Aries and the Gemini and how we're connecting the signs and the planets. So fun facts. Moving along to Taurus. If Taurus is your 11th house ruler, you are going to chase Venus in your chart because Taurus is ruled by Venus. But let's first kind of talk about the energy of the 11th house with Taurus as the ruler. Taurus is consistent, homey, has this very comfort way about them. And the 11th house is not really those things. So this can be a little challenging, especially if you have a lot of aspects that don't align with this, or if you have a lot of planets. Let's say Taurus rules your 11th house, but right in the middle of that, it switches to Gemini and your Sun and your Mercury and everything. Gemini is related in the 11th house too, because you know how sometimes it can switch from one sign to the next sign in that house, and you can have planets that are in the next sign. It can be very challenging for that person because who they are and how they, to the core of their personality, how they're in friendships may not align and it may not flow if Taurus is the ruler of the 11th house, causing some hard aspects there. And Taurus, I'm not saying Tauruses don't love their friends, absolutely love their friends, but it's a family, like small circle kind of sign. 11th house is big circle, big community, big friends. So it could be challenging. It would depend on what was here that would make this really challenging. But if you had a lot of really good aspects, maybe on like some Capricorn, a lot of planets in Capricorn, it could align and make you just the very responsible friend and kind of make you like the really strong friend that takes care of everyone, not so much as like the leader Aries energy, but like, okay, did everyone eat? Is everyone comfortable? Like that kind of energy. So that's
Nurturing.
Yeah, the nurturing friend. So easy. If the 11th house is ruled by Gemini, this one's really nice because Gemini thrives with friends. They're social butterflies. They are very lively. They love to communicate. So when you have Gemini ruling the 11th house, it's very not favorable. But I mean that too.
Maybe flavorful.
Yeah, it'd be really fun. But this kind of thrives here. The cleverness, the wittiness of Gemini being in a house of, the community. They can make it light, they can make it fun, lighthearted, and take a lot of strain off of the energy if it's a heavy subject, if it's like a humanitarian project that's in another country that is they're trying to find food and water that they can drink. This is kind of be the person that kind of comes in and lightens the mood, maybe makes jokes or plays games with the kids. Like they don't really sit with the heavy and they make it a lighter experience. Sorry, my cat's going crazy. I'm not going to yell today. And I wouldn't yell at my cat anyways. I'll yell at my children, but I won't yell at my cat. He doesn't understand. But if you have Gemini ruling the 11th house, you're going to look at where your Mercury is, and that's a huge indicator of how well this thrives here. You can have Mercury in some really good houses, 3rd house, or even the 9th house. It would be very beneficial, especially for like long or short travels. But and even having it in the 6th house, this is one of those places. Mercury in the 6th house could be beneficial because you could organize structure in these organizations in a very analytical process kind of way, which is good because everybody needs organizations. Everyone needs Virgo energy somewhere in their chart.
Yes.
I'm just saying. So yeah, not a really good placement when you have Gemini as the house ruler of the 11th house. So chase your Mercury, see where that's at, connect those two. Oh, we had one more, the 4th house, but I don't really look at this stuff. I'm just kind of talking and babbling per usual. If your 11th house ruler is in Cancer, then you're going to look at where your moon is, and you're going to take Cancer energy. It's very similar to Taurus. Cancer and Taurus are very similar. They don't necessarily love the crowds and the people all the time. If this person has, maybe they're out doing all the humanitarian things during the day and they can resort to a quiet home at night, it can be very beneficial for this person because they can really push themselves in a way and be very nurturing and intuitive and just really hear the community and feel the community and really know what the community needs. I mean, it depends on a lot of things in their chart, but typically this person can pinpoint what is needed based off of what they feel in their intuition versus like knowing or taking charge. It's definitely more nurturing energy, depending on where other aspects are. But generally speaking, this would be a very nurturing, easy kind of flow for a community with someone with Cancer ruling the 11th house. The mother, friend, that kind of energy too.
We got a question before we switch slides.
What makes the house so significant? So in your chart, if you have a lot of planets, if you have stellium, that's a huge indicator that there's a lot going on there. And depending on what aspects, so you can have, let me give you an example. You can have, let's say you have a Capricorn rising, which is a challenging one. You have a Capricorn rising, and your Saturn is in the 7th house. That makes your 1st and your 7th house very lit up because Capricorn Saturn is ruled by Capricorn. It connects it back to the 1st house, and the 1st and the 7th house are major houses. We talked about this before. The 1st, the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th are the biggest. Those are they consider them the most important houses. So when you have a really big connection or aspect, that is a conjunction when they are ruled by the same sign, it gives it a different connection. It makes it more, I don't want to say louder, but it's louder in your chart. Like there's certain things in your chart that are going to be personality-wise louder or experience-wise louder, and it's going to happen more or reoccur more depending on the aspects of your chart. So a lot of things can depend on the significance of the house. I'm just trying to teach like the house rulers and how that connects to certain things. But I mean, I could use examples all day of what makes a certain house. If you have 7 planets in one house, there's a lot going on in that house. There's a lot of things. I just found out my Lilith is an Aries. Yeah, Lilith is a fighter in Aries in the 11th house. Do you fight with your friends? I don't have your whole chart, but if your 11th house ruler is Aries, you might be the really strong friend. But Lilith, maybe you fight a lot with men or women, depending. I can't see who you are. I'm so sorry. Just as Facebook user. So maybe you fight with the opposite sex. You don't have any friends? I mean, that can be fun. Aries, you don't need any friends. You got this. You're on your own, and that's okay. So see, exactly. I don't see the chart. Yes. Well, definitely would say Aries would be a strong person. Having Aries ruling your 11th house, when it comes to friends, you kind of really don't put up with any bullshit. And you're a Capricorn sun, so you really don't put up with bullshit. And that's okay. Julie's like, hearts. It's me.
We're her friends.
Yes, we're your friends. But okay. So if the 11th house if Leo is the 11th house ruler, so we talk about a house every week that there's one that's the complete opposite, and that's this would be the complete opposite of the 11th house. So 11th house is the opposite of the 5th house, which Leo rules the 5th house, and so typically it's kind of hard for the opposite to to kind of exist and be the house ruler. But for this one, I really do like a Leo Aquarius energy, a Leo 11th house energy, because Leo is fun. They want to be the spotlight. And then the 11th house really glorifies that because it provides a bunch of people for them to be the spotlight for, right? So it kind of sets it up in a very beautiful way, like a nice little play. And maybe these are the people that are putting together, you know, like you think of cultures that do like dances and a lot of arts, and like I think of like Hawaiian Polynesians, how they do like the dances and the luau's and all that stuff. It's kind of like that kind of energy, right? Like this was Leo energy. It's loud, it's fun, there's fire throwing everywhere. Like there's nothing that screams more Leo than that, right? Center of attention, people doing all the fun things. So when you have Leo ruling the 11th house, it's really fun, it's really festive. They can be very traditional. Leos can be, they're a fixed sign. They enjoy consistency in a very interesting way. I've always found them to be very consistent in a way and enjoy tradition. So they help that tradition live on in the cultures. I really think that that's like Leo 11th house energy. But if Leo is the ruler of the 11th house, then you would chase your sun, because Leo is ruled by the sun, and see where that's at and see what house that is in and what sign that is in, and put those connections together and how that works with the 11th house and with that Leo energy. Wouldn't you say, don't you find a lot of Leos are more like grounded than I think a lot of people give them credit for?
Yeah, I just think it's like loud voices that make them seem not grounded. And that they're like want to be the star of the show. Yeah. But yeah, I've noticed like Leos, they still wanted like the traditional home life with like family, husband, wife, traditional rules. At least that's my experience with Leos.
Yeah. No, I definitely,
Mostly,
especially
anyways.
Leo women. And some, I mean, the men are the same. Like I know a lot of Leo men, they get married and they stay in like long-term marriages because they really do appreciate the consistency and there's not a lot of change. Like
my longest relationship was a Leo.
I would say I was married to a Leo for a hot minute. But, you know, definitely not if you don't like to be told what to do. I found that it's probably not going to work out very long. But, you know,
yeah,
it happens. So, but in this house,
I think the bossy energy like throws it off.
Yeah, they're like, rah, rah, and they just like have it their way or the highway kind of energy. But I definitely, you know, there's definitely some grounded to Leos that they don't get credit for. They're not these wild banshees off the hinges. I mean, they can be depending on certain things in their chart, but typically they're pretty grounded. And I find a lot of them like to travel, but not a lot. It's kind of interesting. Like they're kind of like stationed. I think of like a cat, like a wild lion or something. You know, their sign is true to like they are in their herd. They do their thing. It's consistent. They're fixed. They're good with that. So, if the ruler of the 11th house is in Virgo, so if Virgo rules your 11th house, you know, take Virgo energy and apply that to an organization. Like it's going to be organized, it's going to be clean, everyone's going to wash their hands, we're going to have hand sanitizer at every station, there will be locks on the doors, no small detail will be unnoticed, okay? Like this is going to be a clean operation, like clean operation. Everyone has
check out our Virgo thing, because there's a whole hand sanitizer reference for Virgos.
The what?
Our Virgo live stream, there's a whole thing about hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer. You Virgos and your hand sanitizers. I've never known a sign to use it more than a Virgo. Maybe Capricorn running up in a close second, but
after almost every activity, but whatever.
It's fine. But yeah, earth signs, use your sanitizer. It's fine. But when you think about an organization and friendships, you know, this is probably, I'm not going to say they lack tact. It depends on where your Mercury is. So you're going to chase Mercury because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and you're going to chase that to wherever it is in your chart. And should you have Mercury in, let's say, I don't know, Capricorn or Sagittarius, I'm trying to think of the most blunt of the signs, Aquarius even, This is probably the friend that's going to tell you you're being stupid over and over. Like, you're being dumb. Like, I'm sorry, you're dumb. Like, no tact. But now if you have your Mercury or your I'm doing Virgo. Like, sorry, question through me. If you have your Mercury in like Libra, they might be direct, but a little more subtle. And like, I really think this is a bad decision that you're making. I don't want to say that you're being dumb, but I don't think it's a good choice. It's that kind of energy, that Libra that doesn't really want to upset anyone kind of energy. Remind me, what is the planet I look for if Aquarius rules my 11th house? Aries rising. So you're gonna look for Saturn, and so just where Saturn is in your chart, determine what house that's in, and it's probably going to indicate where your hardships are. Like, maybe you've had a lot of hard friendships. Maybe, it depends on what house your Saturn is in, but it could indicate like really tough lessons through friendships. So depending. So yeah, Virgo rules your 11th house. Then look for your Mercury. Build that connection with what house and what sign. Oh, it's in your 11th house. Saturn in your 11th house. I would definitely say look at where you struggle, whether it's with a group of people or an organization or friendships. Not struggle, but like have there been a lot of life lessons in what you've gone through in friendships and big groups and humanitarian things? Like, has it taught you a lot of lessons? I guess it doesn't necessarily have to like put you through the ringer. You might be a very disciplined person to where you don't even have to go through the hard shit, because that's what Saturn is. It doesn't necessarily just try to push us to the shit. It's trying to teach us to be disciplined and smart about our decisions and wise and all of that. So if you can obtain that without having to learn the hard way, Julie and I can't understand that, because we have to learn everything the hard way. That's what we live for. The hard way. The hard way. But not everyone has to live like that, and I should consider that when I say that, because I just assume Saturn is going to drag you through the dirt and the mud and hang you up. That's period. But that's not the case for everyone. So could be a lesson. You could have learned things in a very subtle way, and not so you went through the hardest time if that's your planet and your placement. All right. If your ruler of the 11th house is in the 7th house, so Libra rules your 11th house, it thrives here. Libra, again, being a fellow air sign, loving the energy, and again, a social butterfly, making people happy. Now, if Libra rules your 11th house and you have a lot of planets there, a lot of Libra planets, and let's just say you've got some Gemini in there, it's a lot of air, it's a lot of flowy. Your favorite thing about humanitarian trips is probably not the humanitarian work or putting together. It's probably more about like what kind of pictures and content you're getting for your social media. It's probably more it's just a more, I'm not going to say shallow way of the humanitarian trip, but it's definitely more of a fun, lighthearted
appearance.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. You're more less wanting to entertain the aesthetic of the project or the teamwork or whatever, but you're probably not the one putting in the hard work. You're definitely not digging the water holes for people to fish out of to sustain their food source. You're definitely not doing that. You might be hiding somewhere to get out of the work, taking pictures. You're like, oh, we did this today. And then we did this. Oh my gosh, we're saving the planet. But you're low-key not doing the hard work, and that's okay. Do you, boo. All the Libras out there, like, she just called us lazy. You're not lazy. You are
very pretty.
yeah, just sit back and be pretty. Or, you Libras have a way of manipulating people into doing things for them, and that's what's going on here with this energy. But probably a really good friend. They're probably not going to be super honest with you. They're not going to tell you the truth if it's going to hurt your feelings. If you're looking for that like hardcore friend that's going to put you in your place, not Libra ruled by the 11th house with a lot of things going on there. If you have a lot of Gemini, a lot of Libra, they're just going to be nice. And that's okay, because we need those friends too, right? We need the like friends that are like, you're being a dumb psycho, or the friends that are like, you know, you could have done this differently. They're both beneficial. Yeah, in my opinion. I can be a little both. It just depends on the friend who I'm talking to, if they can handle it or not.
Totally.
I do keep that in consideration. See, look, that's very Libra of me, considering people's feelings before I make my comments. But this is not my Libra is not ruling my 11th house. But the next one is ruling my 11th house. So the ruler of the 11th house is, if it's in Scorpio, you're going to look at your Pluto or your Mars. You guys have to decide which one you want to do, traditional or modern astrology. But so the ruler of the 11th house, if it's Scorpio, when you think of like Scorpio energy, it can be a little dark. I'm definitely probably a darker of the friend group, like, you know, but I'm always also ready for anything. Like, you know, we're going out to chase rainbows and like whatever, I'm down. We're hiding a body, you know, whatever you need me for. I'm that friendly. I'll show up for either or. I do like a good time, but if I need to pull up on a situation, I am the first friend to call. I have many friends that are like, hey, I need to handle this. I'm like, okay, that's my Scorpio energy. Because my Libra is very light and fun. But, you know, when you have, depending on where your Pluto is and where your Mars is, it can really make this a very subtle thing. Mine is pretty subtle because a lot of times I really don't like drama. But a lot of times this can be the friend that will try to push you beyond your means, especially like in a humanitarian project or something. You know, they're trying to, they use their intuition and their just their sense of like resourcefulness. Jesus, I cannot talk. Mercury's doing that thing, you know. But yeah, so this is a very resourceful person. So in a friendship or in a humanitarian group or in any kind of organization, they're going to be the ones that are going to be really good at research. They're going to be really good at making sure that the resources are there and that they stay plentiful and all of that. So good placement to have in the friend humanitarian section. All right. If your ruler of the 11th house is in Sagittarius, this one makes a lot of fun. Like Sagittarius is just fun. We all know I love Sagittarius. Sagittarius ruling the 11th house. You're the fun friend, you're the wild friend, you're the traveling friend, you're the go friend. Like you can call at any time and say, hey, let's go do this. And this person is probably 9 times out of 10 down. Unless they have a lot of things that are not working with that kind of energy on their chart. But if they do, if they have a lot of really good happy trine aspects, then yeah, this person's going to be loads of fun. They're going to be so out there. They might be a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, to say the least. But it's that kind of energy. So Sagittarius ruling the 11th house, I say, is a really fun time. Kind of like Leo, but not quite as like flashy, fancy fire throwing. More just traveling, fun, lighthearted, exploring, you know, that kind of energy. So if you have Sagittarius ruling your 11th house, I'm sure you're a very fun friend. The ruler of the 11th house, if it is in Capricorn, this one's, it's like we go from really fun to like, okay, you're probably very problematic. And no, I mean, the thing is, Capricorns, they demand a lot of respect. They really do. And if there's a lot of heavy Capricorn placements here, this friend sets boundaries, has expectations, and if you don't abide by that and you don't really care or respect any of that, they're probably not going to be your friend. And they value friendship in a different way than most people. Like Sagittarius is very light and fun. It doesn't care if you show up or if you don't show up. But Capricorn's like, no, if you said you're going to be here at 7:05, you better be here at like 7:03 because at 7:05 you're late.
I have an example of a Capricorn.
Do you?
11th house. Yes. Yes. 11th house.
Ooh, yeah. And Jupiter is in this house, but it's not Capricorn. It's ruled by Aquarius. So let's go look for Saturn is in the 8th house. So the way I would look at this, and there's a lot going on there. Mercury and Venus, all in the 8th house. I would maybe say that this person has lost friends, and not necessarily to death, but possibly. I don't know whose chart this is, and I don't want to bring up negative.
It's my friend's ex, so you can roast him.
Okay. I was like, I just don't want to upset anyone if they're watching. They're like, I've lost all my friends. I mean,
he won't be, and he just lost his girlfriend, so bye.
Bye. Okay, cool. Well, so this could indicate when you look at someone who Capricorn rules their 11th house, and they have their Saturn in the 8th house. Luckily, it's in Sagittarius, but again, the 8th house can indicate loss and death. There's probably a lot of loss of friends, and learning and growing through that. And maybe he has a lot. Sounds like he has a lot more to grow because he's an idiot. But this person who loses friends often, may not be a very loyal friend, and has a lot of confliction with, how they treat friendships. So, I mean, she probably, it's like the trash taking itself out,
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry he was so attractive, but the rest of it wasn't going to stick.
No, let him go. Look, they're so overrated.
'Tis the season to release the trash.
Bye. Okay. We are on, so the 10th house, you're going to chase your Saturn, just like we just did. Saturn was in the 8th house. 8th house is of loss and death and rebirth, so it just technically doesn't have to mean that they died, but, a loss of friends. So the next one, if the 11th house ruler is in its own, so if Aquarius rules the 11th house, it can be fun, it can be easy. Harmony is flowing. It's true to the energy. Aquarius is eccentric, and they love humanitarian work, and they love friends, and they love being independent and having their own thing in a house of that same energy. Eccentric friendships, projects, community, doing for the community, giving back, and it just flows. It's very happy. This is a happy place. Megan, her chart is just lucky. She's just lucky. She has all the luck. But or was hers Aries? No, because Aries is her rising, so it's Aquarius. I was like, wait, is Aries bad? Anyway, so if you have Aquarius ruling your 11th house, kudos to you. If you had Jupiter in your 11th house ruled by Aries, then I want to know how much fun life has been for you. Very lucky. Is this Megan's chart?
No, this is my Neil's chart.
Who?
My friend Neil.
Oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, Aquarius is ruling his 11th house. And so Jupiter. Or no, not Jupiter. Saturn. Together.
Wow.
Is in the 9th house. So it gives it a lighter. It is in Capricorn. So unfortunately, Saturn being in Capricorn can be challenging. There might be this real strictness that this person desires to be strict, and of the 11th house being ruled by Aquarius, it can really indicate the need for friendships, the need for groups, but also being very, maybe more of a strict person in the friend group or in the whatever the organization is. Is he going to have a strict personality? He's a Taurus sun.
I don't. It's a she. But, yeah.
She. Oh, I totally heard someone else.
But still different.
Gotcha. The sun. It does indicate the Gemini moon might be some nervousness. I think we've talked about this before, but she's not nervous at all. So I would just say there's a very, not strict, but consistent and strong friend would be the best way to describe her. Aquarius is strong. It's independent, stand on its own energy, and then having Saturn and Capricorn in the 9th house kind of amplifies that a little bit, that strength and that structure, and these are the rules and here's how we're going to do it kind of energy.
Mm-hmm. Also flight attendant, so that whole Sagittarius Capricorn business.
Yeah, it's hard to keep them pinned down, you know?
Yes.
Oh, hold on. My computer's doing that thing. Remind me later.
It's that time.
Every time. Okay. All right. If your 11th house is ruled by Pisces, you have such a fun, flowy little energy here. You know, Pisces, they're daydreamers. They really attend to people's needs. They're very courteous. They're very kind. And in the 11th house, there's like no better energy that you would want for that, right? Like when you're doing humanitarian work, especially with the people, this person is really going to connect with the people that have been through the most trauma, and they're going to connect with them in that heaviness, and they're going to feel everything that that person's feeling and be able to have that empathy for them, because Pisces, they're truly intuitive. They feel everything 9 times out of 10. They're an empath. And you know, it might go back and be really heavy on them, but depending on what aspects they have in their chart, it could be very beneficial. I mean, these people could be truly the healers that walk through and heal their friendships, you know, community, whatever project they have going on. They're probably really out there thinking wise, because the 11th house is eccentric and Pisces is just, they're just, the way their brains think, it just blows my mind. They're just creative and out there. And I think that energy into the house that's kind of eccentric and weird just amplifies that and makes them even more weird, in the best way. I say weird. I think weird is really good, but not weird in a bad way. Weird in like a very different, eccentric, free thinking.
We all need to be a little weirder.
Yeah, we should. What are we doing? Not living our best life, being not weird. Anyway.
Exactly.
I know. We got to do better. Do better, everybody. Be weird. But it's that kind of energy. And with the compassion and the kindness of the Pisces energy, I mean, that's needed. In order to reach people and really connect and understand, you have to put yourself in their shoes and feel what they're experiencing, or at least try to understand it. And the moment that they can see that you're trying to connect with them and understand them, like, people don't really want to be told what they need to do. People want to feel heard, and that people are trying to understand them, especially when they're, you know, you think of people that maybe they grew up in a third world country, and you know, you're like, this is what you need to do, get education and da 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 da, and like, really, there's so many things you could tell them they should be doing, but really what's going to matter and what's going to like impact them the most is the fact that someone can sit and just like feel them and like, I hear you, I see you, you know. And it's not about this is what you need to do, it's about like, I'm so sorry you went through this, and that's everything to do with Pisces energy. So Pisces in the 11th house, very good depending on all the other aspects and how it can affect your chart, but typically very compassionate friend, very loyal friend, and just a good friend to have. So.
We did it.
45 minutes.
Honestly,
Lovely.
not bad. Yeah, not bad. We've got one more class in this series, and then we may or may not do an astrology after dark. We will let you know. But then we're going to take a little astrology break, and then we're going to have a different class on Mondays. We don't know what it's going to be yet. So it's a surprise for y'all and for us. Elle and I are going to take a well-deserved break, and we will be back maybe eventually.
Yeah, we have one more class, so we will be here next week. And
we will be here next week, same time, same place.
Party class after that, or something fun, something light. My journey was just taking me somewhere really busy for a little bit, and you know, you got to show up in your space that you can show up in. So
exactly, and honor it.
Absolutely.
Very exciting. Well, we're grateful that we have over 50 classes that are for free on YouTube, which is absolutely crazy. Like, these classes alone would be worth like $10,000, like, easily. So we're giving them away for free.
Free information.
Why not?
And, you know, and a lot of talk about murder and killing people and so, I mean, if you do it
lots
for
of murder,
you know, truly just fighting with men at the bar for fun, like,
you know,
you don't get that.
There's gotta be. Yeah, exactly. It was real. It was raw. There was screaming. There was tears. Gotta see us in our highs and our lows. It's been a year, man.
I think I did a live with baby throw up in my hair at one point. Because Sam was a baby when we started this, and baby threw up, and I was like, well, I don't have time to shower. They're not gonna smell me, so I'm just like, what up? Welcome to Coffee and Astrology. Bump it in my hair, man. So
it's real. Yeah, it's real. We did the most real podcasts we could do. Well, thank you so much, Elle, and thank you, Megan, and thank you for everyone watching. And we will be back next week for our grand finale.
I love it.
Bye.
Bye.